Okay, so here we have the first section, which is going to be SOHCAHTOA. So in this section, we will be learning the three basic functions of trigonometry. So we have the first one, which is sine of theta, and that is going to be equal to opposite over hypotenuse. And then we have cosine of theta, and that is going to be equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. And then we have tangent of theta, which is going to be equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and fill in this right triangle. So when we use these three basic functions, we're only using them on right triangles. So we're going to go ahead and set our angle down here. So we put a little theta there, and the hypotenuse is always your biggest side, so that's our biggest side. And then opposite of that angle is going to be a cross, so this would be opposite. And then adjacent would be the closest side, which is down here. So let's go ahead and do the first example. It says, example number 1, given the triangle, find all three sine, cosine, and tangent. So we're going to go ahead and do sine of theta first, and we should have a theta somewhere on here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw it down here. Usually it's going to be given. So all this information on the triangle, the blue and then the black, all of that would be given. So sine, remember that's opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite would be 3, and then hypotenuse would be 5. So that's what sine would be. Then we have cosine of theta. So cosine of theta is adjacent over hypotenuse. So it's going to be 4 over 5. And then tangent of theta, that's going to be opposite over hypotenuse. So that's going to be 3 over 4. So these would be our answers, all three of them. All right, so the next one here, again, I forgot to draw the angle. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the angle up here now. And then we're going to go ahead and do sine. Remember, sine was opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine was adjacent over hypotenuse. And then tangent was opposite over adjacent. All right, so in this case, you have your angle up here, and then opposite would be the side that's farthest away. So that would be the 2, actually. So this would be opposite. This now is going to be adjacent, and then this longer side will always be the hypotenuse. So this is going to be 2 over square root of 83. And then remember, we don't like denominators in the radicals in the denominator. So we're actually going to go ahead and rationalize the denominator. And so my answer is going to be 2 square root of 83 over 83. So that would be sine. And then cosine, that's adjacent, which is 7, over hypotenuse, which is square root of 83. So again, we're going to go ahead and rationalize the denominator. And that answer is cosine of theta is equal to 7 square root of 83 over 83. And then lastly is tangent. So tangent is opposite over adjacent. So in this case, that's going to be 2 over 7. And these would be my answers. All right, so next we have this one, and I'm going to go ahead and draw the angle down here. So again, this one's the farthest, so that's opposite. This one would be adjacent, and this is my bigger one, so it's hypotenuse. Also for this top one, if you didn't know which one was hypotenuse, if I plug in square root of 83 into my calculator, I get that's approximately equal to 9.11, and that's the biggest one out of 7, 2, and 9.11, so it's obviously the hypotenuse. All right, so the third one, so sine again is opposite over hypotenuse, then cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and then tangent is opposite over adjacent. So sine of theta is going to be equal to 12 over 13. Cosine of theta is going to be equal to 5 over 13. And then tangent of theta is going to be equal to 12 over 5. And those would be my answers.